to kind of kick things off, we want to start with some introductions. And so I'll start with myself, and I'm going to pitch it over to Tess and Joshua to introduce themselves as well. But hi, my name is Sam Ayers. I'm a delivery manager here at Valiantus North America, and I'll be kind of facilitating some of the introductory conversations here, and also talk about Atlassian Intelligence on kind of a high level. And well, let's wait for Tess to join here. But Joshua, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Joshua Dimitri. I'm a software development manager with Valiantus. So I'll be here to kind of fill in the details of how the Atlassian Intelligence set of tools can fit into our custom solutions and how we tie that into our enterprise as a whole.
All right, thanks, Joshua. And Tess, do we have you with us?
Yeah, I forgot to put my headset back on. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Oh, I'm sitting here waiting.
Yeah, we're just going through introductions now. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Teresa Doris. I've worked with Atlassian products for probably about the last 12 years. I'm very excited about AI. It gives capabilities to users that before, if you didn't have a good development background or, English might not be your second language, we kind of struggle. So I think you're going to be very excited about what we're going to present today.
Awesome. Thanks, Tess. All right, so just a couple of housekeeping items here. If you're joining us, as we've mentioned, you're here for the Atlassian Intelligence webinar, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this is not our only webinar. We have several different webinars available to you on our website. I believe Brianna is going to share the link to our training in general, and then specifically our upcoming webinars. And so can't stress this enough. Please take advantage of this free content that's available to you live and then also on our YouTube channel. So please take advantage of these webinars. Just a lot of great information, a lot of exciting things coming down the pipeline in the Atlassian ecosystem. So please take advantage of this content. And before I go any further, I just wanted to provide just some very quick information about Valiantus and just kind of give you a sense of who we are and just a little bit of what we do. So just kind of lightning round here. We have worked with Atlassian for over 16 years. So we have a long-standing shared history with Atlassian. That is a big advantage to you. We're one of 3 global partners with Atlassian. And we are a 12-time winner of the coveted Atlassian Partner of the Year. We have 52% more certified employees than the second largest partner, and then we have over 2,000 customers worldwide. In addition, we are a Platinum Solutions partner with Atlassian. And Platinum Solutions partners, if you're not familiar, have a deep understanding of Atlassian's products, as well as experience in implementing and customizing these products for our clients. So this also means, in addition to everything that you see here, we provide training as well. So we provide extensive training programs that include webinars like the one that you're attending currently. We also offer separate boot camps for Jira Software, Jira Service Management, Confluence, Jira Line. And Jira boot camps are essentially 3-day courses, typically 3-day courses that equip Jira admins to administrate their instances and products of choice or products that are used within their organizations. I've been through this course myself and can attest to its usefulness and effectiveness. We also offer training outside of the Atlassian ecosystem, where we get into agile frameworks like SAFe training, for example. And then for the everyday users of Atlassian products, we have something called an Atlassian User Academy, which are tailored to everyday users of Jira. So wide swath of training opportunity, and then also specializations. And then additionally, our consulting services specialize in the full Atlassian suite of tools, where we're catering to organizations of varying sizes. Our in-house software developers create customized solutions spanning from app development to crafting unique user interfaces. So if the solution you need, in summation, if the solution you need doesn't exist yet, we can help. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Just a quick reminder. Let's talk about Atlassian Intelligence features, but I do want to remind everyone that before we jump in, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to hit the Q&A button down here at the bottom of the Zoom session. Drop your questions in while we're talking here. Feel free to do so, and we will try to tackle those at the end. We typically like to try and reserve at least 10 minutes or so to go through those at the end. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Atlassian Intelligence. And what I want to just start by talking about is ultimately Atlassian Intelligence, what is it, and then who is it for? So Atlassian Intelligence helps teams accelerate work, increase efficiency, and provide value faster using artificial intelligence. And so, for example, it allows you to generate and transform content, summarize critical details, find the work that you need fast, and much, much more. This is a hotbed for development within the Atlassian ecosystem, and there are new features coming out seemingly monthly, if not in a more frequent manner. So Atlassian Intelligence leverages artificial intelligence developed internally and from OpenAI. So it uses the teamwork graph, which is unique to your team's project or service work, along with internal language models and OpenAI to deliver results specific to your organization's context. So you may be asking yourself, that's all great, but how does it really work? So Atlassian Intelligence combines state-of-the-art models developed by OpenAI with the power and data inside the Atlassian platform. So this means that Atlassian provides a native artificial intelligence experience that is contextual to you, your teams, and your workflows, all in a way that respects the privacy of your data. And that's a segue actually into the next thing that I want to talk about briefly, which is tech and data security. So there's a lot of uncertainty around AI nowadays, just in general, and we want to address one of the more prevalent questions that comes up with this tool. How is the data I put into the tool being handled? So right out of the gates, it is truly opt-in only at the org admin level. So you have to be an org admin and intentionally switch this on for each product. And you can toggle this on specifically for Jira Software, Jira Service Management, Confluence, for example, on a tool-by-tool basis. So this is not something, or in other words, Atlassian Intelligence isn't just something that's running already in your instance, so never fear there. None of the inputs and outputs from AI are stored or used by Atlassian or Atlassian's partners to train their models. So inputs and outputs in this case refer to data customers type into Atlassian products and are analyzed by Atlassian Intelligence. Atlassian Intelligence respects all existing permissions and data residency. So this does not include data that users already don't have access to in their responses. So all data is processed and transmitted in accordance with Atlassian's privacy policy, data processing addendum, and GDPR commitment. And then ultimately, AI is leveraged to filter results based on user permissions, to put it up simply. It doesn't currently support SOC 2, ISO, or HIPAA. So just something to keep in mind there. And then Atlassian Intelligence currently leverages large language models from OpenAI. So for Atlassian Intelligence, each data request is sent to OpenAI individually over an SSL encrypted service to process and send back to Atlassian. So OpenAI does not use Atlassian Intelligence inputs or outputs to train its models. So for existing Atlassian Intelligence features, OpenAI does not log the inputs and outputs. So I just want to make sure that's abundantly clear. All right. So now that we've gotten through all of the technical jargon here, I want to pitch it over to Tess, who I'm excited to say is going to show us some of the functionality within Atlassian Intelligence. Tess, take it away.
Thank you, Sam. All right. Hello, everyone. So I get the privilege of being able to show you the fun things you can do with this cool new feature. Are you able to see my screen? Yes, okay, perfect. So one of the things I want to bring you to, of course, this is our wonderful Atlassian support page that we have out here always. And if you come in and take a look at it, Atlassian has gotten really good about kind of updating what features of AI are available now, which ones are coming soon. And this one here says it's kind of available now, but it's still black. They have added it, but it's got some challenges. So they are working to resolve some of that, but we'll take a look at this going forward. So of course, right now, the ability to be able to generate and transform content has been added to a lot of the products. Summarizing your contents in JSM and Confluence, we'll walk through that, and then creating automations, which is really cool. Smart links have not yet been tackled. They are working through that. We expect to see our first release of that towards the end of this month. And defining the terms. This is a fun feature that's in beta, which is really great to test, and it's working really well. So then let's look at how we can use it for gleaning the insights. So we've got a lot of data out there, and we all know what searching Confluence, Jira, and some of these other tools are like. It can be really challenging. One of the greatest benefits I have found is in the generation of SQL queries in Atlassian Analytics. For those business users that want to be able to find the data that they want without having to go to a DBA or someone and say, oh my goodness, I need to get this SQL written. This is a really fabulous tool. We have a lot of really neat stuff as well with JSM, with some of the driven action that we can do. So this is a great page to have and to be able to reference on what changes are coming up. It also gives you good links to be able to go in and take a look at. So I'm going to start with my Atlassian Analytics, which is the new reporting tool that Atlassian has created for enterprise clients. And I'm just a business user, but I need to find my data. So I come in here and I've asked my little button down here, come into your SQL query and come into here. And I'm going to show, oops, me all open issues with no assigning. All right. And I'm going to hit go. And it's going to generate the query for me that I'll see in the right-hand panel here in a moment. And I have it here. Now I want to see what data that's going to give me. And as a business user, and I'm looking at the data and I decide that, oh, this is not really what I wanted to see. So I really want to see all issues with no assignee. Project and due date. Okay, so let's go ahead now. We're just going to rerun that. We're going to expand our query to bring us more information that we want to see. And run it again. And now we see, well, I got what I wanted. I got my issue key, I've got my due date, but I didn't have a name for the assignee or the project. So I really want to see the assignee name and I want to see the project name across the board. So let's try this again. All right, we'll run our query. So you can see now I'm coming in here and I'm starting to see the different information that I want to. So I have no assignee on these, of course. And so let's say, no, I want to see the ones with an assignee name, project name, and a due date, and come through and say, okay, this is getting down. So you can see how intuitive this is for a business user to be able to really type in their language, what they're looking for and be able to get to the data they want to see. And once we start expanding, I won't show you analytics, but they can start setting up the charts and the tables and the type of report that they really want to see. So here we go. Now I've got my project name, my assignee name. I've got my issue ID. That doesn't really help me as a user. So I want to say, show me all open issues. Um, let's see, by key. Let's say by key. Let's try this again and come through. And again, once it runs, adjusts the query for me, we can go ahead and run it again and see if we can find the information. So again, we're coming across now. I've got my key, my assignee name, my project name, and is there a due date or no due date out here? So, that really gives you a really good aspect of how you can actually do this. And it's a really good way to teach folks to how to do SQL queries and come in and look at the visual. And then as you go through and build your report, you can come across and do different things with it. So again, really, really fabulous what we have going here. At this point, let's say I want to sort this alphabetically. I can go and add a sort alphabetically. And again, it's generating my query and my reports for me where I can view over here. Fabulous tool. All right, let's go over and take a look at some of the things that we can do out here in Jira. Okay, so now I've come in here. Am I in Jira? I am. Yes, okay, sorry. We'll go ahead and start with the Confluence right now for a sec here. And in Confluence, again, you saw we had a lot of capability that we were able to do with Confluence in the system. One of the things I really love about this is I'm coming in and I'm creating a new site. I need to figure out what I'm doing. So I need to write something as my description. I'm not sure how to put it. Let's just do some brainstorming and say, need to create an HR onboarding and offboarding process. Okay. Now it's going to come back and it's going to suggest what it feels that we should have on here. So you can see it's come out, it's taken a look at what we have across the board. It's giving us the information that we see out here, but maybe we don't want to use numbers. Maybe we want to tell them use bullet points so that it'll go ahead and regenerate it. Now you can see it's replaced my numbering with bullet points, which is more my organization. So at this point, I'm going to insert it and say, okay, I like this. And as I'm reading through it, I look at it and I say, you know, I'm not too sure about what I have in here. I want to change the tone and make it, shorter. Let's be more succinct in what we're doing. Great. Let's replace it. That's perfect. I've got a word in here that I'm not too sure what it is. So I need to go and take a look and see what does that actually mean? You can see I can come in here and ask for it to be defined. I can come in and change the tone of just one word. I don't have to change the whole paragraph. It allows me to come in and do this, or maybe I want to tell it to rewrite it. I want to improve grammar, spelling, something along that nature. So it gives you a lot of capability to come in here and be able to look at the different functionalities you're here. If I come into another project that I have out here, let's say in my Confluence, I want to go to my engineering support. I come down, I'm taking a look at some of the product information out here and how-to articles. And it's like, I've got this whole item in here and I don't have time to read all this. So I just want to summarize it. So this is going to pull out for me the gist of what is in this page that I can sit there and take a look at and work through all of that, which gives me a lot, again, really great functionality. One of the really neat functionalities that's only in Confluence at that time is when we come in here, and we're looking at our automations and we say, let's automate what we're looking for in here. So let's describe an automation that I want to do. So I want to create a automatic ticket to update Confluence. Let's just say update this page from Jira every 3 hours. Okay. So now I'm going to ask them to go ahead. Create an automatic ticket to update this page from jar. Doesn't understand that one. All right. So as we can see, this is automatic come up and it's come through and it's given me a lot of the different fields I need to make this happen. So I can come down now and sit here and start creating the automation rule that I want. Maybe I don't like this. Maybe this isn't really what I was looking for. So let's go ahead and try again. And really what I want to see is automatically. Okay, so let's go and try that again and preview the rule that it would create. You notice I left a spelling mistake in there because most times it will go ahead and it's smart enough to look at what the word is. You don't have to have your spelling correctly. So that's one of the nice things about it. So again, now it's changed a little bit so I can come down and start taking a look at the different rules that I want to create. Again, very powerful to be able to do that and coming in. So again, the transformation of your data, the summarizing of your contents, creating the automations within the system, being able to look up a term and the definition of it are really cool things that we have out there. And of course, the last one that they've just added is coming up here and being able to use it asking just questions. So before you really had to search and contact, I need to find a knowledge base for engineers. Okay, so it's going to come through and it's going to show me my engineering support that I have. It's going to give me the space I have for that. It's going to tell me who the latest person is that I have for all of these things. Or it's going to come over and if I had anything inside of these other tools, it would come up and show that for me as well from one search bar. I still can't figure out what I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and just ask the automation in AI. So asking AI, it's now coming back and giving me different information that I can see in here across the board. Okay, another very, very powerful tool. The next one we're going to take a look at is coming in here and taking a look at, again, what we're going across on our board. One sec here. I lost my notes, just disappeared on me. Lots of fun. And we're going to take a look at some of the things we can do in JSM. So again, with JSM, you can do a lot of the same things that I've already shown you on the other platforms, but there's some really new things that we have out here in JSM that are pretty spectacular. Like I want to make a suggestion, okay? So let's say I need to set up an HR onboarding and offboarding project. Okay, and let's go ahead and ask the intelligence what we can do. You see, this one, they had no response at this time because I've used terminology that they're not really understanding what I want. So let's ask it a different way. I need to set up an HR onboarding and offboarding process. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hit go here. And you're going to see that now it's giving us different ideas of what we can do. So, oh, I really do want to set up this process and this process here. Let's go ahead and create the process. Comes down here, it opens it up. It allows me to go ahead and create my process and be able to kind of start the conversation in there. So we'll go ahead and create that. Now I've kind of got this in here and I'm coming down and it's like, wow, I've got to select fields. Well, let's see what it suggests. So as you can see, it's coming through here and it's looking at what I've said in my initial question and it's giving me suggestions of all the fields that I would want to be able to set up inside of the workflow that I'm creating inside of this project for JSM. So again, very cool what we're kind of looking at in here across the board. And that's pretty well it for me. Thank you very much, Sam. I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, Tess. That was awesome. Next, so we've got Joshua, and I'll go ahead and actually share my presentation again. We've got Joshua with us today to talk about some of the possibilities with Atlassian Intelligence in the realm of custom development. So Joshua, take it away.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, my starting slide here is this statement of beyond work management. And that's really to call out that here at Valiantis, we understand that the needs that you have for any organization are going to go beyond just work management. And Atlassian products have already built in a lot of tools and features to kind of go beyond the basics of work management and tracking tickets and all of that. But Atlassian Intelligence is just another facet of Atlassian tooling that gives us possibilities to take what our organization or enterprise is doing beyond the bounds of typical work management, and how we can integrate things like data that exists in other applications or build custom functionality on top of our tooling. And when we think about something like AI and Atlassian Intelligence in this case, the first thing that comes to my mind from the perspective of custom solutions is, okay, well, we've got the data that's in Jira and Confluence, kind of in the service management tickets and everything. We've also got data in other applications and other custom features. We've also got other things that we need to accomplish throughout the rest of the organization. So how do we go ahead and start bringing those things into the AI processing and be able to also get insights on top of that? So this first slide that Sam has brought up here is kind of what I'm calling the old way. This is before having things like Atlassian Intelligence with our Atlassian tool set. This might be an example of how you would want to architect a solution to have some AI processing and prompting on top of some external data. You would probably have, Jira, Confluence, Jira Align, like you see kind of on the left there. You also have those external tools like, external applications that you've built, so custom applications or external data sources. Maybe you've got tools outside of the Atlassian space that also have some storage of information about your processes and things like that. But you have to bring all of those into this custom layer, a data store of some kind that's storing all the information across everywhere in your organization, try and centralize all of it so that then you can use that to then prompt some AI tools. And then that's where that middle piece of that custom application for sending prompts and getting results shows up. That layer right there is where we start talking about, okay, well, now we need some sort of interface for the user to interact with to be able to ask questions about the data that we're storing in this centralized location. We need to take that data then, pass it up to, let's say, OpenAI as an example, which is probably the most common one. Use their APIs and tools to ask for questions about the data that we have in our centralized store now. So this works, and there's not really anything wrong with this process, but there are some pitfalls here. First of all, and it's called out in that second bullet point, is there's no direct integration between the AI tooling itself and the data. So like we saw from Tessa's examples, things like Atlassian Intelligence allow us to just go inline in the tools, like she pulled up in Confluence, and we can just highlight text and ask questions about it. That is integrated to a much greater extent than you're going to be able to accomplish with a system like the one that's shown in this diagram here. And that's going to prevent users from having as easy of an access to the AI tools on top of that data. The other pitfalls that you're going to see from this type of scenario is related to that top layer of the middle there. So that all those gray boxes are things that you basically have to build yourself. So that top box being AI prompting and processing is going to require that you either have a large amount of infrastructure that can support a large language model to a degree that maybe isn't supported by your organization. Maybe you don't have the ability to spin up a whole bunch of space in a data center to have all that processing happen. Or you're going to have to rely on something like OpenAI, in which case now you have to have the burden of thinking about security and thinking about the actual storage of that data. Is it going to be exposing things that you don't want to be exposing to other areas by using an API like OpenAI? And so you're going to have all of these things that are now on your organization to think about and work through. So what this does is it accomplishes part of the goal where you are able to ask questions and get insights from AI on your data, but it also puts the burden of integrating all of those pieces on your organization. And that leaves a lot with you to handle to actually get this benefit. So Sam, if you go to the next slide, this is going to show what it looks like with Atlassian Intelligence. So it's kind of one step of the process, which is that we're going to be looking at kind of this left side here where all of these blue boxes are things that are built by Atlassian. So, Jira, Confluence, Jira Align, whatever data you might have. In this case, it's, Jira and Confluence are really the main ones we're looking at, right? They're going to be data that we can use Atlassian Intelligence to get insights on, and that's going to kind of tie into a lot of the objectives maybe we're seeing in Jira Align or other Atlassian tools. And so when we look at this, now we have a much more directly integrated piece. So we can do like what Tess was showing, and we can directly go to data in our Atlassian suite of products. We can get AI tools and features on top of that data without having to build any tools ourselves or build the processes from our organization. So there's no longer that need for that custom-built processing layer. But you'll notice that on the right, the external sources and the application data from any custom solutions you may have are now disconnected. So we have this situation that we've built now where we still want AI insights on top of all of this application data and any of those external sources. And Atlassian Intelligence is providing a great way for us to get those insights and a great way for us to interact with our data from the perspective of artificial intelligence and being able to get some of that productivity boost like we're seeing from things that Tess pointed out. But what about those external sources getting into this process? Because now we're directly integrated with Atlassian, so how do we get that piece connected? So Sam, if you go to the last of our diagrams here, the thing that we're going to notice is kind of one additional piece being added to this puzzle. I'm not going to go fully in depth with that, which is what we call Forge, but I will kind of introduce what it is to talk about how it ties into the process that we're seeing through this diagram. So Forge is going to allow us to build integrations or extend features of Atlassian. It's essentially a developer toolkit built for Atlassian cloud products. And it allows us to create custom solutions and integrations and connectors to Atlassian data. And the reason why I'm pointing that out from the perspective of Atlassian Intelligence is because what it will allow us to do is connect our external applications and sources to our Atlassian suite of products. So as you'll notice, in between Jira Confluence, Jira Align, kind of all these different pieces from Atlassian and our external sources, we now have Forge. And Forge is going to allow us to use the Atlassian toolkit to connect all of those external pieces into things like Jira or Confluence. And what this calls out is also that we're going to really be using Forge to supplement the data set that exists in our Atlassian suite of products in order to get AI insights on it. Now we can actually even take this a step further, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a second here, but we've actually been using Forge also to build applications where we utilize an Atlassian product like Jira Service Management, for example, or Assets or Confluence, essentially as the infrastructure and backend for our product, for our application that we're building. And what that means is that as we do that, and the more that we see applications built that way and see our data being stored and represented in the Atlassian suite of products, now tools like Atlassian Intelligence that provide a significant amount of functionality and feature set on top of what we see in our data, we can now use that on anything that we're representing in that Atlassian suite of products. So as we build applications that are utilizing these products, we now have features like Atlassian Intelligence to actually get insights on them. So this is kind of the fully realized architectural diagram of how you might think about using Atlassian Intelligence as the driver for AI intelligence, as well as getting insights on your data, searching, summarizing, all the things that Tess showed off, including external sources, which is where Forge comes in to integrate all of those things. Now, I do want to talk about an example of this. And so we're going to get a little bit more into the specifics of a particular example of accomplishing this goal that we've seen. So Sam, if you go to that next slide, we actually have a couple different applications we've done this with, but one of the main ones is one we call Fleet Manager. So this was built, and as you can see here, this is currently showing UFOs, and we have this for kind of a demo site, but this was built for vehicles, so like maybe a car rental company or something of that nature. But in this case, we have these UFOs being shown, and as you can see, it's in the interface of Jira. So it's an application built for Jira, and it is showing basically all of our UFOs that are available to reserve. So basically, these are vehicles or UFOs that we can go in, we can see the details of them, we can sort through them, and we can reserve them in order to say, hey, this car is being checked out for whatever purpose. And let's say we want to do that for a particular client. So we built this application to integrate with Jira, and we went to the extent that I was talking about in that previous diagram, where the way that we drive the data for this application is that it is actually driven entirely by data that is stored in the Atlassian suite of products. So all of these vehicles, for example, are going to be represented as assets in Jira. So we're going to have asset schemas for all of these vehicles, and we're also going to have, for all of the reservations, we're going to have service requests being made to actually reserve one of these. Now, an end user, the user at the end of the day, doesn't need to know those things. The user can interact with the application as if it were just any other application, regardless of it being in the Atlassian suite of products or not, or where the data is being stored. But the benefit that we get in terms of AI from having our data being stored in that Atlassian suite of products, we'll be able to see on the next slide. So Sam, if you go to that next slide, I have a screenshot here of all of these reservations actually being stored as those service management requests. And as Tess showed, there are Jira service management features with AI. And so all of these vehicle reservations that are being stored as part of our service management can now be searched for, summarized, or we can even automate service interactions by using the tools that are there in Atlassian Intelligence against the data from our custom application we've built. And so this is pointing out how we can take any application, the possibilities are endless. We can take whatever we'd like to build for a client or as a product, and we can build that using Atlassian as the infrastructure and as essentially the database and data store for our application, as well as the piece that's going to handle our authentication and security and all of these different pieces. And because of that, as new features get added to Atlassian suite of products like Atlassian Intelligence, we can expand the possibilities of that data and of that application and that process. So Atlassian Intelligence, from the perspective of custom development and solutions, gives us the possibility to take the rest of what Atlassian has already been providing, like Forge, and integrate all of these things together into a unified solution. And so now what we're going to be ending up with is the ability to go into our Atlassian suite of products, build custom functionality and extensions of those feature sets using things like Forge that are provided by Atlassian, and with a much smaller barrier of entry, be able to have custom functionality that ties into AI insights and without the burden of the infrastructure and the security and the authentication and all of that process to be on us, because all of these things can also tie into the user management of our Atlassian suite of products. And so now we have basically removed the burden of a lot of these struggles that we're going to have to be thinking through for building custom features on these solutions. We put a lot of that burden onto the Atlassian infrastructure, relying on a suite of products we already utilize to get those AI insights and to expand the feature set along with our data. So that's pretty much it for me. If there's more that you want to see from these different ideas and the things I'm pointing out here, you can also see on the website from links that have already been sent as well. We'll have more content coming out for both Forge and AI. So keep an eye out for those things. And reach out to us if you have any ideas of things that you might be able to accomplish with these tool sets, and we'll be able to work on ways that we can accomplish that goal together. I'll pass it back to you, Sam.
Awesome. Thank you, Joshua. That's some exciting stuff. Sky's the limit. That's cool. Thanks for sharing. All right. So with that, now that we've kind of shown you, Tess has talked about some of the features specifically that are kind of available today. We want to just highlight a few of the features that are coming soon, or existing features that are going to be rolled out to additional products kind of down the road. I do want to draw your attention to this page that exists right now that you can interact with within Atlassian site and documentation. This is ultimately our source of information right now. In addition to, I really encourage you to keep an eye on the cloud roadmap as well. These are both great resources to keep an eye on, ultimately what is going to come down the pipeline. So just wanted to draw your attention to Atlassian support documentation, where you can get a full list of ultimately what's available to you within this feature set. So with that, right now, you're able to generate and transform content in Confluence, Jira Software, JSM, Jira Work Management, Bitbucket, and Trello. So that's probably the more, at least mature feature within this whole feature set that's available on a whole slew of products. Coming soon, it's also going to be available for beta and Jira Product Discovery. So really exciting there. Summarizing content, currently available in JSM and Confluence, is shortly going to be rolled out to Jira Software, Jira Product Discovery and beta, Jira Work Management, and then also Confluence Mobile, which is kind of fun. And then as of right now, you can create automations via Atlassian Intelligence and Confluence. That's going to be rolled out to Jira Software, and summarizing smart links. So this isn't a feature that's currently available, but will soon be available in Confluence, Jira Software, JSM, and then also third-party apps, interestingly enough, with Google Docs, Microsoft Office, and Slack. So hold on to your hats for that feature that's coming soon. And then last but certainly not least, the ability to review code. That's kind of an exciting one. That will soon be coming down the pipeline as well. So again, can't stress enough, keep an eye on the cloud roadmap, and also keep this upcoming features and current features page in your bookmarked. All right. And then one thing I want to touch on too that we often get a lot of questions on, or have been getting a lot of questions on with our clients, is what does this cost me? So within the pricing information, I will say that this feature, Atlassian Intelligence, is only available in cloud. It's not available in data center. Atlassian Intelligence is currently only available for premium and enterprise tier users of Atlassian products, denoted by this screenshot here that you see on the right. And then I will say beta users, if you're an early adopter and a beta users, or are a beta user rather, you do retain access until June 30th, 2024. So of this year, you keep it till June. And then free and standard cloud customers that participated in the beta program can access features also until June 30th. So not being yanked from you right away, but just know that that date is coming. And then something also, there's currently no usage limits, but expect that to be added in the future. So just a side note there as well. All right. At this time, we want to see if we have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and open our Q&A section here. And okay, it looks like I have a question here. Are you using my inputs and outputs to train Atlassian Intelligence? Yeah, great question. So Atlassian Intelligence, just to reiterate, I think kind of what I was sharing earlier, relies solely on data concerning your interactions with the features. So that includes details about your collaborators, the kind of scale and nature of the attachments that you're using, and any feedback that you offer. It does not utilize the content you input or output. So that's a great question. Let's see, let me open QA here. Let me go to the chat. Okay, so we have, is my data within Atlassian Intelligence used for users or other users, I'm sorry, other users or customers? Yeah, great question. So the data you submit and the responses that you receive are only used within your experience of the tool. So they're not used to train models across customers or shared between customers. Yeah, great question. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions.
I have a quick question for you, Sam.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that you mentioned there that was about looking to the future, that there would be limits on the types of AI queries or different functionality we could do. Would those limits be really around how we rephrase it or how we try and look at, changing the summarization of data? Or would those be more like the queries that we're doing in automations? Do we know where Atlassian's planning to go with that?
Great question. I personally don't know. And I think that would be one of those scenarios where I would point folks in general to the cloud roadmap to get finer detail there. That was kind of the high level information that we were given. But that's a great question. I unfortunately don't have the answer to it.
Yeah, because I would find, like, as you saw when I was writing my queries with, or trying to create my workflows, what I want to see, I put in multiple queries in order to really find the definition because I'm a business person. I don't know how to write this in the way that a quote developer does. So for the usage that I'm looking for my business users, they're going to write multiple queries to kind of get until they see what they want, right? So that would be my
Right.
concern.
That's a very valid point. Yeah, and I'm sure your concern is going to be shared by others too. And I think time will tell the answer to that question. That's a great question. Let's see. Oh yeah, we've got another question here. I don't see Atlassian Intelligence in my cloud enterprise instance. Yeah, great question. So we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. So make sure that it's enabled by your org admin. And like I mentioned earlier, also, you can toggle that on a product by product basis. You can toggle Atlassian Intelligence on or off there. That's a great question. Okay, any other questions? Okay, great. Well, with that, I do want to jump over to this slide because with any webinar that we do here, we highly encourage you to reach out to any of the three of us or all three of us with any questions or additional questions you have about Atlassian Intelligence or just Atlassian tools in general or training or any of the things that we offer as an organization. Please don't hesitate to reach out to Tess, myself, or Joshua. We would love to have additional conversations with you. Again, not just about Atlassian Intelligence, about our consulting services, et cetera. So please, we encourage you to reach out to us. Also, please feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. We're all our organization as a whole is very active on LinkedIn. That's probably how you may or may not have heard about this webinar. So please don't hesitate to connect with us. Again, we would love to network and interact with you on LinkedIn as well. And so with that, we want to sincerely thank you for your attention during this time. We encourage you again to reach out to us. And we are, as we draw to conclusion here, we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thanks again for your attention. We'll talk to you soon.